If your hair started falling 2-3 months after you started dieting, fasting, or losing weight, this episode might explain exactly why. Hey, today I want to talk to you about something I see in clinical assessment almost every week. A client walks in with significant hair fall. She's been doing everything right, eating carefully, exercising, taking supplements. She started intermittent fasting about 4 months ago, and her skin actually looks better than it ever has. And like most people, she wondered what is going on. And in today's episode of Nutri Digest, let's dive deep into the connection and a couple more things that don't get talked about enough. Patterns I see repeatedly in the clinic, and once you know them, hair fall suddenly starts to make sense. The first one, intermittent fasting. Fasting genuinely works. I want to clear that first because let's not stop something that can give us results. Improved insulin sensitivity, reduced inflammatory marker, clearer skin, and all of that is real. Your body is responding, but the hair follicle reads the situation slightly differently. When your eating window is 4 to 6 hours and you are fasting for the rest of the time, hitting the adequate protein in that window is harder than most people realize. It's not impossible, just harder. And since most of us don't track it, we don't realize that we are falling short. The hair follicles are extremely sensitive to that gap. Hair follicles are some of the fastest dividing cells in our entire human body. When protein drops, even temporarily, even just a little, your body makes a decision about where to send it. It goes to the organs, immune function, skin repair. Those are non-negotiable. Hair growth, that gets deprioritized, so the follicles go into a resting phase. And then, about 10 to 12 weeks later, hair starts to fall. That delay is everything. So my client started fasting in November and her hair started falling in January. By the time she visits me, she's convinced it's stress or her new shampoo or something she ate. The actual cause is actually 3 months in the past. The follicle is not damaged. It just went to sleep. It wakes back up when protein is consistently adequate around 1 to 1.2 grams per kg body weight per day within whatever window you are working with. The fasting schedule isn't the problem, the protein gap is. Then comes ferritin, the stored form of iron, which needs to be monitored along with protein. Normally, ferritin levels should be about 35 nanogram per ml, but to prevent hair fall, it needs to be above 70 nanogram per ml. And interestingly, the same biological pattern shows up in another situation. Crash dieting, severe calorie restriction over a short period, almost always means inadequate protein. When you're cutting down calories aggressively, protein is usually the first thing to go. And when protein drops below what the body needs to maintain its essential function, the same hierarchy decision happens. The follicles go into the resting phase, and 10 to 12 weeks later, the shedding begins. There's a second layer to this. Aggressive calorie restriction also depletes micronutrients rapidly: iron, ferritin, zinc, B12. These aren't stored in large quantities in the body. A few months of eating very little replenishes none of them. And all four have a direct documented relationship with hair growth. Ferritin, which we talked about earlier, is something I test in almost every client with hair fall. It is consistently remarkably low in women who have been through a period of restrictive eating, even months after they have returned to normal eating. The hair follicle needs ferritin not just to grow hair, but to stay in the active growth phase long enough to produce a full hair shaft. When ferritin is depleted, the growth phase shortens. Hair that should grow for 3 years starts cycling out in one. Along with the hair fall, you will notice that it grows back thinner, shorter, and slower. A normal hemoglobin readings does not mean ferritin is adequate. They measure different things. I ask specifically for serum ferritin in every hair fall assessment, and the number I'm looking for is not just with the normal range. The good news is that it is almost entirely reversible. People are not informed about it early, so they are unprepared, stress about it, and add on to it. The follicle is intact, so the deficit is nutritional, not structural. Correct the ferritin, correct the protein, give it 3 to 4 months, and the hair responds. It just needs time and the right inputs. The problem is that most people, by the time they come in, have already brought 4 different hair growth serums and changed their shampoo twice. The answer was never on their scalp. The last one, and this matters to most of you watching this, PCOS related hair loss. Most clients who come in with this have been told the same thing. It's hormonal, here's your treatment plan, manage your stress. The dietary piece, which is specific, evidence-based and actually quite powerful, barely comes up in the conversation. Here is the mechanism because I think it's worth understanding properly. PCOS hair loss is driven by elevated androgens, free testosterone and DHT, acting on the follicles that are genetically sensitive to them. The follicles reduce in size over time. Hair gets finer, shorter, and eventually stops altogether from that follicle. Where does food come in? Insulin resistance. Most women with PCOS have some degree of it, including women who are slim, who eat carefully, who would never think this applies to them. Elevated insulin tells the ovaries to produce more androgens. It also suppresses a protein called SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin, which normally binds testosterone and keeps it inactive. When SHBG drops, more testosterone becomes biologically free. More free testosterone reaches the follicle, more damage. A low glycemic diet, less refined carbohydrate, more fiber, more anti-inflammatory fat can meaningfully shift insulin sensitivity. Studies show a 20 to 25% reduction in free androgen level through diet alone in people with PCOS. That is not small. That is clinically significant change in the hormonal environment your follicles are sitting in. Specifically, what I work on with these clients, replacing high GI starches, correcting vitamin D, almost universally deficit in PCOS, with a direct, though not fully understood relationship to androgen levels, and myoinositol, which has solid clinical evidence for improving insulin sensitivity in this population. This helps us address the root of hormonal imbalance, not just balance the symptoms. So, if you remember just one thing from today, hair fall is very often the result of nutritional signal your body received weeks or months earlier. Make sure you get an expert's opinion. That brings us to the end of episode of Nutri Digest, where we discuss 3 very different problems: fasting, crash dieting, PCOS, and their common link to hair loss. It helps to know that your skin and hair are responding to specific variables in your specific biology. Knowing which variable is off and by how much is the difference between trying harder and actually getting somewhere. That's exactly what we do in nutritional assessment at Oliva, where we get a specific picture of what's actually happening in your system and then build a plan around it. For a customized plan that works for you, book a consultation with us.